You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good day and welcome to the Mushie Moment with myself and my awesome co-host Rev Cindy. We're live today on Tuesday, the March 18th. Here
11th.
on Pace Radio. What?
11th. You're a week ahead of yourself, my friend.
We're live today on March 11th here on paceradio.net, and we stream everywhere. Now, I'm never ahead. I'm always way behind.
I know.
I'm a week ahead finally.
Something happening the week after that you're excited about?
Our podcast.
Oh my goodness. How's your Tuesday?
Not too shabby. Doing a lot better. I was, kind of got hit with a bit of that flu there a couple weeks ago there. Took me down pretty hard. It's nice to be recovering and back on track. Back doing the V-spike block and the poly shield to stop those things from getting in. Dang it.
Can't wait to get my hands on those products again. I'm so excited. That the eye adapt. Boy, howdy do I miss those things.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, beautiful products. And we should probably have a show one of these days to talk about all those products and do all that jazz. That's a good idea. Look at me coming up with ideas live on here.
That's not a bad idea.
That's not a bad idea. But today we have an East Coast guest.
All I want to do is go, well, nice of mine and build about, nice of mine and say it's very nice of
That's Newfoundland, my friend.
Oh, when you're in Vancouver, that's East Coast is all the same.
It's East Coast. So I heard about this lady probably about a year-ish ago. A friend of mine was telling me about her, about foraging, this lady that works out of New Brunswick. And, she's very smart. She knows her stuff, not just about mushrooms, but about, foraging in the woods. And then a few months ago, I had opportunity to go on a hike that this lady led here in Nova Scotia. She came and visited a beautiful spot, and we were able to go for a beautiful walk through the woods, a very nice trail these people have made on their property. And we got to go learn about the woods and about everything. And I came back very enamored with her knowledge, and I told you all about her. And then here a couple of weeks ago, I had once again opportunity to go on another hike with this lady, another walk, another learning experience. And then there was another forager there who made us beautiful food. It was spectacular. And what I can take away from the last meeting was, and we were just talking about it before we came on air, she taught us how to make white pine soda. Sugar, water, and white pine needles. And it was really cool. And, I invited her to be part of the show at that point in time, and she said yes. So we have worked hard to find time and bring her on. And her name is Jessika Gauvin.
From the enchanted mushroom forest, foraging and folk medicine.
Yeah. Hi, Jessika.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
We're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm really glad that we found a time to get you on.
Me too.
So, Jessika, I've been on a couple of foraging expeditions with you. Oh, hi, Chica. And the first one that we were on, you gave a little bit more about your history. But for the people that are watching that may not know, why don't you tell us about your foraging history and what got you into it again?
Okay, so it's pretty cool because I can almost like if I stood up, I can see the spot where I picked my very first mushroom because it's like literally just like maybe 15 meters out my back door. But I remember one of the very first things I remember was just kind of like toddling around my backyard, picking the white mushrooms with the pink underside, like the grocery store mushrooms. They're called meadow mushrooms. And my mom was very into it, very into it. We were very into plants. We were very into the herbal medicines. Ended up not doing it quite so much for a while when I was a teenager and a young adult. Uh, I had experienced some things in my life that were traumatic, and I ended up turning to drugs and alcohol to kind of chill myself out. Went way overboard and I was fried. I found out I had PTSD, and it was like, oh, well, I'm just coping very, very badly with this. And what are some better ways that I can do it? So I ended up looking at ashwagandha and astragalus and other adaptogens help regulate your stress hormones. And I found out that there was a mushroom called reishi, and I landed in the woods looking for this mushroom and brought home the wrong mushroom. It took me 6 months to find the reishi, but the mushroom that I brought home that wasn't the right one still ended up being pretty cool. So I ended up falling in love with the culinary mushrooms after that, and ended up back in the wild plants shortly after that. And I just wanted to bring people with me into the woods and for them to see how cool it was. So I started bringing people into the woods, and my mom started poking at me that I should consider doing it as a job. And I always imagined it would just be kind of like a hobby or a little side hustle, but it kind of snowballed, and it is the big, beautiful thing that it is now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been interesting to go on these walks with you because it's not the only thing that you do. You do have a day job, I guess, so to speak, where you help when people find the wrong things.
Yes. So that's not really a job though. That is like a volunteer thing.
Okay.
It's a big team. It's a big team full of people from all over the world helping with. You're talking about the emergency poison, right? Yeah,
Yes,
no, that's a volunteer group.
Well, God bless you. Right. That's amazing. That's even like way cooler then.
It's pretty cool to watch the team in action. It is pretty cool. But yeah, I did take on somewhat of a little bit of a part-time day job a couple of months ago doing mad science workshops. So I'm having a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. So you just to go back to this group of people that you volunteer with.
Yes.
It's one of these things that I find very cool because like, I mean, especially the more as it grows, people into natural medicines, into foraging, into, all of this stuff. And they've gone for one walk with a Jessika Gauvin type person. And all of a sudden they feel that they can go into the forest and they can get everything. And now they've brought home the wrong thing. They've eaten it and then they're sick. I mean, they call this group, or eventually somehow you guys come into play to help. Yeah,
it is really a beautiful thing to be a part of. There are a lot of cases, a lot of veterinary cases, a lot of like kids and dogs and stuff, and most of the time the outcome is really good and we can feel really good about it. But it is really, really important that people are safe when they're foraging.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of those, a lot of people will use the apps for identification.
Yeah.
Percentage chances of, but they can still be wrong.
Yeah, well, when you're learning, an app can be useful, but should never be your final reference. So you need to go on walks with experts and ask for help. The Facebook groups are a really good resource. And it's really important too that you get to know each species really, really good and be familiar with the features that make it unique and what looks like it that can be dangerous. Yeah, you got to take your time and get to know it.
Yeah, that was when I was doing some studying, especially in the mushroom realm. It said other than the amanita, every other mushroom has a dangerous version. So you've got the one that's edible, and you've got one that looks like it not edible.
It's not quite that dramatic. There are lookalikes to mushrooms, but there are plenty of mushrooms that you can start with that are fairly straightforward. Don't really have a deadly lookalike. Lobster mushroom is a really good example of that. It's a beautiful red, like kind of filmy feeling mushroom that's very white inside, and it smells like seafood. It doesn't really have any gills. It's a very safe mushroom to start with. And that's the important thing when you're getting into anything, really, plants or mushrooms, that you pick those good, safe ones, get to know them really, really well. I'll learn what those, because they do have mushrooms that kind of look similar, but often they're not dangerous or even poison at all. So it's like a less of a risk with those easy beginner mushrooms, but there's a procedure that I call a safety net, where you use more than one book or website to verify your mushroom. And then you check with like a person, like an expert like me or one of the other really amazing experts that are accessible in my foraging group and a couple of other foraging groups.
Yeah. Wow. I want to stress too that we're talking a lot about mushrooms, but you forage way more than just mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really, 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 really beautiful things that you can forage for.
Yeah. She the last walk we were on, Jessika showed us some plants that can kill people. So now I know that. Be careful. I'm kidding. But yeah, she said, what was it? The spruce tree, and I can't remember the name of it.
The yew. It was the yew. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. No, boots. And that's very common and very. If the issue is, if you don't know that a plant or a mushroom has a potentially deadly lookalike, and you just, like you were saying, you go on a walk and you're like, oh, I know that. I can go get that in the woods, and then you don't realize it's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some minor differences sometimes. Yeah, Steve's enjoying the podcast.
So what like if a person was going foraging, really they should know the area and what they're going to be looking for ahead of time, really.
Well, that is a very good plan. Yeah, there are like a handful of common plants and common mushrooms that you can find all over the place, practically all the time. Those are great ones to start with. And often these are plants that are just hanging out around your house, in your yard, in your park, by your neighborhood. The amount of food that can be available in a really small green space is absolutely mind-blowing. Most of what's out there is edible, medicinal, delicious, but it's just knowing to be cautious and to be respectful and to really take your time.
So with springtime coming up,
Yes.
what would be what would be the excitement of spring is coming, and that is going to bring
the greens? The beautiful, beautiful green things, the dandelions, the stinging nettles. There's a beautiful herb called bedstraw that grows almost everywhere. It is this gorgeous, gorgeous little plant that is really good for your lymphatic system. So he's like, I think I need him right now. So really excited to see him. There's some really cool mushrooms, these big, beautiful shelf mushrooms that are really soft and they have like a feathery pattern on top of them and they smell like watermelons, but they're so good. I'm really excited for those. That's a beginner friendly mushroom, very beginner friendly, because like shelf, feathers, cucumber smell, like soft. There's nothing else fits that bill. You know what I mean? So really good and very abundant on hardwood trees and really yummy. If you like ramen, it makes the best broth ever.
Wow.
Mhm. Yes. And spring is a good time to learn because there isn't a crazy amount of mushrooms out in the spring. There's just a few. So that it's easy to learn each one. So I always tell people if you're going to learn mushrooms, this is the best season to start in.
Very cool.
Okay.
And you run in-person and online classes, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Very cool.
And maybe we should pop that across the bottom as to where they can find her for those.
Sure. Yes.
Because like I'm not on top of things because I'm busy watching the podcast.
And you've got a beautiful dog on your lap.
Yes, she's being a little demanding today.
I've noticed. I'm also going to. I am just clicking some buttons here to see if I can paste this in. Why won't you let me make a comment? I don't know. Interesting. It won't let me put a comment in, but that's okay. I'll put it in our Facebook group when after the podcast.
Okay.
That makes it easy. Yes. Yes. So you were actually talking to me about an some Amanita, training and whatnot. Steve, quite the right way, makes BC is a wonderful place to forage Amanita.
Yes, it is. There's a lot.
Yeah, you almost go anywhere in the right time of year, and he just sends me pictures and videos of just tons. He walks up this one path and it's just Amanitas. It's just so he has taken to foraging them and doing some work with them.
Yes. Yeah. No, they're beautiful.
I haven't done anything tincture-wise or anything with them. At this point, it's just been, processing them and then capping them. And, same with CPTSD and utilizing them for sleep. And we've got my partner, John, uses them for his neuropathy. And it's...
that
was new for us just as of last year, actually.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, it's really nice to see and hear about them.
We'll further it this year because we have been gifted. The trail is just ridiculous some years with what the abundance of what it leaves for us. So it's been nice to open that one up because prior to that it was all psilocybin and reishi, cordyceps, lion's mane, chaga, maitake, shiitake, turkey tail.
Yep.
The the ones that when I was first looking weren't so abundant, but now seem to be quite abundant and talked about, which is nice that people are learning what they do what they can do for the immune system, what they do for the guts, what they do for our healing. It just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The more I research, the more I just get blown away at.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yep.
So what other type of herbs and that do you forage in your area? What is it that you're finding there?
Oh, I have probably like 15 or 20 herbs for each season that I'm super fond of and I could talk about all day. It's really hard just to pick one or two or three.
Well, go through a few. Go through why they're your favorites and And what about them? You know, you find
Yeah,
it.
let's start with this season. So we're going from winter into spring. Like if you were to head out today, what would you be hoping to find to bring home to process as food or medicine?
Today?
If you were to head out today, if it was ideal weather conditions and everything, and you headed out to do some foraging, what would you be hoping to find?
Well, today would be a lot of the same stuff that you saw when we were on the walk a couple of weeks ago. The conifer trees, especially the pines and the spruces, are really, really wonderful. Super high in vitamin C, very antioxidant, very good for respiratory issues, colds, flus, viruses, immune support. The spruce in particular has been shown in some studies even to support healthy blood flow to the brain. So that one kind of shocked me when I learned that. What you were saying earlier, every time you learn, you're learning more things that blow your mind. I run into that a lot. Every time I run a class, every time I'm getting ready to do a class, I'm writing up the materials and I'm double checking stuff, and I learn something that I'm just like, what? Seriously, about this plant that I've known and used for years. I think that that's really, really cool.
Okay, so you said stuff about spruce. If a person was going to go out and utilize spruce, what would they be doing?
It would usually be a tea this time of year. Most of what you're going to find right now would be a tea. You could also prepare a tincture, but tea is simpler and faster.
So the needles off of the thing, or are you breaking the pieces that the needles are attached to with it, or what would you be doing?
Some people would remove the needles from the wood. I'm a little bit lax and slack when it comes with my foraging and herbalism, kind of like just in a mason jar, you know what I mean? Toss it together. But I like to throw the wood in. Often the wood will also have other compounds in it, as long as the wood is not toxic, of course. That's that due diligence. But just the wood and the needles, I like to take just the tips of branches and toss them. I like to use a thermos if I'm in the forest, or a mug, and pour some water over it, let it sit for 20-30 minutes, and you're good.
Wow, and it would be quite the earthy taste, I would imagine.
It's pleasant. It can have notes of citrus. It can be kind of like the smell of a tree. It's quite pleasant, especially if you sweeten it a little bit. I thoroughly enjoy it. Rose hips are really, really good with conifer needles, and often you can find them really close by, and the winter preserves them. So you could make a real fancy tea. You're making me want to go forage, though.
Now, what would be the benefits of a person having, say, a spruce with rose hips tea?
Well, that is a vitamin C bomb is what it is, because the conifer needles are full of vitamin C. The rose hips are also full of vitamin C. So you got just vitamin C out the wazoo. I think you would also have some vitamin A, probably some other vitamins in that range. Lots of compounds to support like the elimination of mucus or tar from the lungs. And you would have blood flow support for some of those conifers. Spruce would help with cognition and memory and things like that. If you're under the weather, colds, flus, I believe antiviral, antibacterial, immune supporting. So you got a really large spectrum of benefits. Rose hips, since we brought those in, are really good at skin support, heart, cardiovascular, even like on the emotional side of things like grief and stuff like that. So rose and conifer needle together, you got a lot of different bases covered.
I know that rose hips is really good for blood flow as well. They say that's really good for getting the varicose veins to lighten up and clear up as well.
Interesting. Very interesting. I know if you put rose hips in oil, dried rose hips in oil, and you let it soak, it's just as good or better than some of the really fancy, crazy, expensive serums. As there's a compound called tretinoin that people pay a lot of money for, and rose hips have it naturally. And it, because of the vitamin C and the collagen and the rose hip oil is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful for the skin.
Yeah. Yeah, rose is beautiful for the skin, whether it's the rose hip, the rose. It's just rose. Steve and I were at the there's a psychedelic conference in Vancouver. He's changing up the dates and times, but used to be every November there was the Spirit Plant Medicine Conference in Vancouver. And this past year, the people that set the altar for the conference, it was all rose based, and mine aren't going to be right here. I don't know where I placed them. They're in my purse somewhere. But he makes rose petal beads. So roses and water is all it is. And then he rolls them into beads. And they smell so fragrant and so beautiful. And they are in of themselves a medicine just by smelling them and by wearing them. But the entire altar was rose-based. And it was very beautiful. And, you know, he talked about the rose medicine like a lot of the weekend, and it was incredible. Yeah. That was Willow. Hey, Steve?
Yeah. Pretty amazing stuff that he does, too. He's an incredible wood carving guy as well.
He is. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look.
Hard
I'm
to
searching for them.
Oh, did you find him?
I did. Yay. So these are rose petal beads. It's all rose petals spun into beads. And they are so incredibly fragrant. It's incredible. Yeah. So yeah, it's so we learned a little bit in November about the power of the rose, and it was quite spectacular. And he had different tinctures there made with rose hip or rose, and it was quite beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, is it about that time we should do our commercial break?
Well, get that done. Yeah, we could probably do that. That was a nice little pause naturally there, so we can head into that commercial.
Okay. Hey, it's break time. Time to check out our sponsors, pay some bills. You're here with us live on the Mushie Moment on paceradio.net. We'll be right back. Hang out.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection. We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Ready brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford, Ontario. Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back to the Mushie Moment, streaming live to you here at paceradio.net and on all your favorite streaming platforms. We're here with Jessika Gauvin from the Enchanted Mushroom Forest Foraging and Folk Medicine. I think that's awesome. All I picture is one of those little gnome cabins is sitting in the by a tree with some mushrooms growing.
Yeah.
Well, did you see her front cover page? I'm going to show it off here now. It's got a little fairy on it there.
Oh, there we go.
I actually found this in the forest, and a friend of mine took a picture of it.
It's super cute.
So if people were going to look for you, that's the group they would look for on Facebook?
Yes, and it's a little sleepy in there this time of year because I'm
tired of foraging snowballs.
Yep, that's pretty accurate. So it ramps back up probably around April or May. I'm starting to get really excited. In my Facebook memories last year, a couple of days ago, I was picking stinging nettles. So this week last year, there were stinging nettles out. So I'm just like, any day now.
Any day. It's all going to happen.
That's what I have to step into this year is the stinging nettles. I have a buddy who's just got a field of them in his back, and he's been nagging me for about 2 years. Dude, you got to look into these stinging nettles. You got to look into these stinging nettles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those will get added in this year as well.
Yes, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, considering you just got another subtle message about them from Jessika.
Yeah, it's loud enough. I'm hearing it. Oh, hey, okay. So stinging nettles. What are the advantages, and how would you utilize them?
Oh, these guys. They're probably, in our part of the world, the most nourishing plant that grows wild in our part of the planet. It is really high in most of the minerals that your body needs to do all the things that it does. It's crazy high in iron. It's even a source of protein. Super anti-inflammatory. Even the stings. My grandma has arthritis and she stings her fingers every year with the stinging nettle. She'll get cranky with me if I wait too long to bring them back and they're wilty. She'll be like, they're not stingy, Jessika. But what else? Okay, they're a natural antihistamine, so you can take them for like 6 weeks before allergy season, and they'll help support, especially the environmental allergens. They're an everyday herb, is what they are. I think folks should be drinking the nettles every day
and stinging their fingers.
Well, I don't particularly enjoy that, but some people find it it's kind of similar to like bee venom therapy. It's the same compound. So
and just kind of if you had arthritis in your fingers, you would just kind of try and get them to actually do like they do when you're running through them.
Yeah, well, I take my grandma to pick the stinging nettles with me every year, and she picks them with her bare hands. Just happily, she's like, "Oh yeah, let's do this."
Wow. And then how long would the relief be for her off of that?
Yeah, it lasted like a significant amount of time. I've never asked her how long in particular, but I would imagine it would last some hours or potentially a little longer, especially if you use it regularly.
Wow. And other than that, you would generally just put it together as a tea?
No, the nettles, they're a little bit more versatile because when you cook them, they're not stingy anymore. People do like cream soups, like a cream of leek or whatever, but a cream of nettles. You can use them like you would use any green vegetable, cooked, of course. I like to fry the leaves in just a little bit of brown butter and they get like a crispy little chip. The seeds, you can even use the seeds. They're very nourishing, proteins, fats, and a lot of the same benefits as the leaves. It's a really cool plant.
Wow.
Yeah, very interesting. What a way to naturally fight. Like, I like the antihistamine. I have allergies specific to like Nova Scotia. You know what I mean? And I don't like taking, you don't know me well, but I think you've met me long enough and in the right situations that, I don't want to go take all of these pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
And this sounds like a lovely alternative.
Yep. And then you're nourishing yourself too. You get all the vitamins and the minerals from it. It's really cool. I should go check my spot right after this.
So even if you're just cooking them up and making a soup, that'll work for the histamine aspect as well?
Oh, yeah, totally. Just get them in, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Is it something that people use in a tincture quite heavily? I haven't actually noticed it.
I have because you're so much of the benefit of the nettles is in the minerals. That is not extractable by alcohol. So there are probably compounds in it that would come out, but for the lots of the vitamins and minerals, because we want to get as much of that as we can. So most people are going to food it or tea it. But I would have to look into exactly like which compounds would make people want to do a tincture. I'm sure people do tinctures. I've never worked with it in a tincture fashion.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah. You can tincture most things. It's just whether it's the most ideal preparation for it.
Right, and what is the benefit you're getting out of there? Because like you said, the mineral content you won't be getting out, and if it's a high mineral thing, then you could be wasting a lot of it utilizing tincture.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, and nettles is coming around, so that's something I should be looking at here pretty soon. Yeah.
I'm literally I'm gonna go check my spot as soon as we're done talking. I'll send you pictures.
We look forward to it.
So so nettles is in there. What else in this time of year would be something really potent and powerful for gut health?
Well, even coming up, like from what I can hear, you're excited for the nettles because any day they're going to be popping up. What else has you going? Okay, maybe tomorrow. Like, is there?
No, things move a little slow in the spring, so kind of just waiting on stuff to ramp up. My favorite things other than nettles take a couple or a few more weeks. Oh, knotweed is really cool. Knotweed is really, really cool, but that'll be 3-4 weeks now. Reishi, we mentioned reishi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's crazy about reishi, and reishi is really wonderful. People should be crazy about it, but it only grows for a couple of months, and it can be hard to find because around here it likes hemlock. And some years it doesn't flush as hard as others. So it's like there's this other mushroom that is related to reishi, very closely related to reishi, much more common, much more abundant, and grows all year. So he's really cool. So you can do a lot of the same kind of things with him. He has a lot of the same chemicals. But he's easier to find, accessible all year.
What is that?
It's called an artist's conch.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I actually have a giant
at the bottom, right?
I'm sorry. Yes, it's white on the bottom.
Yes,
Yes.
they called them artist conch because they used to pop them off and paint on the white parts.
Yes. So if you give me a minute, hold on. I want to show you something. Hold on.
That's wicked.
And we're both trying to read.
I think it says, "Let that shit go."
Yeah, it's a mushroom.
Cute.
Nice.
Okay, so this is my gigantic artist conch.
Wow.
Yeah, so oopsie. Okay, sorry, I accidentally hit a button. This is my gigantic artist conch. So they grow all year, which means they ever stop growing. As long as they have food, they'll just keep getting bigger and bigger. My brother was moving. He's a mover, like he works for a moving truck company, and he was moving, and this lady had this mushroom, and he asked her if he could take a picture of it to show me, and she said, "No, just take it and give it to her." So he gave it to me, and it's huge. I don't even think the camera does it justice how big it is. But this is the part that's really cool. Is see all those little lines?
Yeah.
That's each one of those is one growing season.
Wow.
Yeah, so it tells you how old it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's here's the top.
Wow.
It's kind of brown.
That's bigger than what I've ever seen before, actually.
Yeah, I've never seen one this big ever, except for when he brought it to me.
Growing up in the interior of BC, we had a bunch of those growing around us.
Yeah.
Wow, that one's huge.
Yes. And they're super common. I find them basically every time I go out. They're all over the place.
Well, I know growing up in Kamloops, there was a lot of people that used to paint them, like go and gather them and do the paintings on them. That's how I knew what it was that you were actually talking about. I've actually seen lots of them painted while I was growing up. That's
oh my gosh, pushing all the buttons.
Pushing all the buttons.
Okay, sorry.
That's usually me doing that kind of stuff.
I was gonna say, we've done it all.
So yeah, it's a cool mushroom, and it's.
What are the advantages of that particular mushroom?
So the same kind of things you go after reishi for. The organ support, the stress hormone support, that is, and all mushrooms are anti-inflammatory. All mushrooms are anti-cancer, antioxidant. So you're going to see some aspect of most of those things in almost any mushroom. Even the groceries, like the store mushrooms that you get at the grocery store, a lot of them have really potent medicinal benefits. I got into the mushrooms for the reishi, right? It was about medicinals for me at first. And I went looking for them. Took me a while, found some culinary ones, and I got really into those for a good year probably. Was like, oh, culinary mushrooms are awesome too. And I found this big old, it's called a hen of the woods. And they get up to 50 pounds. Yeah, you mentioned maitake, so you know that's another name for it. So you already know this mushroom. But I found it was 50 pounds, the one that I found. It was massive. My kid kneeled down next to it and was basically the same size as this mushroom. So I brought it home and I was doing my research. I was checking it out, making sure, how am I going to use it? What am I going to do? I decided on jerky. So shred it up and make jerky with it. But as I was researching it, it was like, oh, this mushroom is used in traditional Chinese medicine. And I'm like, excuse me, no, that must be a mistake because this is a food mushroom. And then I played a fun game for a little while called which mushrooms aren't medicinal. So which mushrooms don't have some sort of super crazy benefit for your body. And I haven't found one yet. So we'll continue playing that game.
Wow. So did you step into discovering stuff about the mushrooms, et cetera, and whatnot because of your PTSD?
I mean, I definitely, I think that that was a really, really big factor, but it's possible that I may have ended up there anyways. My mom was bringing me some for a couple of years. I put chanterelles in spaghetti sauce because I had no idea what I was doing. But I think that was the big push that got me back there, was wanting to support, wanting to feel better. Yeah.
That was my pathway with the mushroom as well. It was like, I want to heal. I'm tired of medicating, and I want to heal. And when I went down the healing path, it didn't just bring me to psilocybin. It brought me to reishi. It brought me to lion's mane. The more I started to go, and I was working with some cancer people or helping some cancer people, and then turkey tail pops in, and you start going down, and you're looking up the active ingredients and the published studies that come along with them, and it's a whole new world. It's a whole new world of healing.
It really, really is. Yep.
Wow. So, in your dealings with your own healing, which have you found the most powerful of your natural medicines that you've been using?
Well, it was probably the very start of my journey when I got some Amanita muscaria. This actually wasn't the beginning of my mushrooming journey, but it was my beginning of stepping away from drugs and alcohol. So I had been mushrooming, learning mushrooms for maybe 6 to 8 months. And maybe it was longer than that. Maybe it was a year or a year and a half, but I was still, you know what I mean, drinking and whatnot. And, I ended up using the Amanita muscaria extraction and the psilocybin microdosing, and I was able to drastically cut back my drinking almost immediately and slowly taper off. And I don't know if it would have been quite so easy without the help of those things. Not that it was like crazy easy or anything, but it definitely made it not entirely miserable and made it like more of a beautiful experience, and gave me a lot of peace in my decision and a lot of like feeling that I could do it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful.
Yes, I love those kind of stories. Wow.
Yeah. Healing stories are beautiful, and it's one of those things that we share in this realm. Whether it be, and I mean, we've had people on that, you know, have nothing to do with psychedelics, but like, I mean, like they forage and they heal with the forest. And then we've had people like yourself who's kind of in both of that. And we've had people that are psychonauts. And it's just beautiful to see how these natural worlds and these earth medicines of all kinds can work together to help a person heal. And I love hearing the different stories of the different ways people have found that.
Yeah, it's always it's interesting to find how the healing stepped into the person's life, where they, you know, it's the mushrooms have been there forever. The knowledge has been there forever. But it's us finding it in those moments where we require it. And you know, I grew up in an environment where store-bought mushrooms were fine, but the wood-picked mushrooms, they're slimy, they're yucky, they're gross, they're, you know. My older brother became a mushroom picker. He was one of those guys, went up pines, chanterelles, up to the Queen Charlottes, and, you know, doing all of that. Sure wish I would have listened to him a little more back when he was talking. He's passed away now, but I could have used some of that info. But I've been inspired to investigate and learn, and again, the more you open your eyes and the more you start to learn about it, the more you realize there's more to open your eyes to, and so much more to learn. And the healing world, you know, the gut and the healing world are are hand in hand. They're synergistic. You've got to have a healed, good gut to heal the body. And when you step into the magic of herbs, mushrooms, the combinations of the, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the healing that can come along with it. What is give us one miracle that you will have viewed in your history of working with the natural medicines like that?
Her own sobriety. I'm sorry I had to answer for you, because your own sobriety is a beautiful miracle, and I absolutely love it. My apologies for taking over your answer.
It was pretty amazing, the drasticness of the change. My roommate said to me the other day, she's like, look at the way you were like even 4 or 5 years ago, and just look at you now. And I always have to stop and remind myself, like, because I'm really hard on myself sometimes, so I always have to be like, okay, no, like, and just put yourself back there. Like, you would be so amazed with yourself right now. So I just have to remind myself sometimes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we hear that one.
That's when we often do. Steve and I will look at each other and go, did you picture yourself here 3 years ago? And the answer is often no. I had no idea. Even though I started, journeys a couple of years ago to become a facilitator of different medicine, never saw myself finishing them, right? Like, it's just, yeah. So it's pretty incredible. I feel blessed to have met you. I'm very thankful that you've come on the podcast. I think you are an absolutely beautiful soul. One of my favorite, it's only been a few times, but my favorite memory of you is the first walk I did with you. And I can't remember the name of the mushroom that you saw, but you had been hunting for him your whole life. And you were so excited to meet him. And you were like a fairy running through the forest to pick up your friend. And it was gorgeous.
Yes, that is such a beautiful mushroom, and I really hope I get to see him again.
What was it?
It was Amanita jacksonii. So it's known as a Caesar mushroom. It's a big, beautiful orange mushroom with a big, beautiful white sac at the bottom and a stripy orange stem. He's very striking, and like beautiful lines all at the side of his cap that go like halfway up his cap. So he has a lot of really unique features. And one of the coolest things about him is that you can actually consume him raw. So you can just slice him up and put some olive oil and salt and pepper. I know that sounds crazy for an amanita, but keep in mind that he's totally far from the other amanitas in the family, right? And very commonly eaten in Europe. And he associates very much with oaks. So we don't have a lot of oaks here in New Brunswick. So I look and I look and I look and I look, and I never found him. I had a friend who found him in Alma and brought him to me, and I got to taste him, but I had never seen growing from the ground. And the cool thing is, my friend took me to an old growth oak forest later that day, and I got to see him again. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really special moment. Like, I mean, I'm sure it was special for you, but to see your absolute pure joy as you were guiding us was just, it was a gift to us as the people that you were teaching. It was quite a beautiful gift. And so I thank you for sharing that moment with us. It's like, it will probably forever be one of my most favorite Jessika stories.
And that
it's one of mine too. Thank you.
What was that? It was Amanita
jacksonii. JACKSONII, and it's called a North American slender Caesar.
Okay.
And it's breathtaking. Like, you guys should go look at a picture of it. It's so pretty. So pretty.
Well, I'm going to keep my eye out for it, because where I walk, there's also the Amanita pantherinas. There's a few different Amanitas where I walk. So
Yes. You actually, yeah, I forgot that you're in the Pacific Northwest, so you won't have Amanita jacksonii. You have different Caesars over there, and I can't remember exactly what they are, but they're a little bit more less distinct. So they're a little bit less distinct. They're a little bit harder to pick out, but they're still fairly unique. But you guys got the Pantherinas like crazy. Those are rare here.
Oh yeah, this last season was really. Of course, I haven't done my research on the Pantherina, but I was doing the research on the Amanita, the Muscaria, and dealing with that, and then realized, oh, these are all Pantherinas, and then started to look through that and went, oh, that's a whole nother area I got to fill my brain with. I'll leave it for now. But I'll
That's
be looking
fair.
for next year because I'm not even. I know they have a lot of benefits. I know they're a lot stronger. Just in some of the quick research I did, but
Yep.
this is when it comes to mushrooms, it's not a place that you quickly jump in, get some information, and jump out. It's a
No.
place you want to be focused and very sure of what you're doing.
Yep.
So with my Amanita muscaria, I've been playing with it for 3 years, but didn't actually do anything till I had 3 years of knowledge and over and over and over. So you're doing it right. It's not something you want to fuck up with.
No, definitely not. It's technically a poisonous mushroom, and you want to know how to work with it for sure. It took me a year and a half before I felt comfortable, but I did have a friend who had been using them for years who kind of guided me through the process, but I still took the time to be comfortable in myself in it. So it's definitely a very good cautionary note.
Yeah, that was the same for me. I did pretty much 3 years, two seasons prior, where the
Yep.
first season was picking and learning that you'll wreck a whole bunch before you learn how to cure them properly. And then it was going into groups and communicating and learning. And then the second year, I made them, I cured them, got them all done up. It was like, okay, didn't utilize them, just, working through things and learning.
Mhm.
And then in this past season when they happened, when I did them, and of course the first thing I did was utilize them on me and test them on me for a while before
Yeah.
anybody touch anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I found they were, again, there's a reason they say magic to some of the stuff. The ability to drop anxiety and bring calm in and and neuropathy.
Yeah, that's what really, because I had used them to help me with the alcohol withdrawals because of the way that they work on the GABA receptors. But after that, I put aside my cured ones and I didn't really touch them again until my friend had Tia. She was having an episode of TMJ, and her jaw nerve was all. They told her acupuncturist and her doctor told her it would be weeks and weeks before it would calm down, and she would be in that much pain for weeks and weeks. And I was doing my research on what I had in the house that might be able to help her, and it was like, oh well, your muscaria would be helpful for that. So I made her up a little thing, and I think it was 4 or 5 days later she was pain free.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I got muscaria when when I first started learning about them 2 years ago this week actually, as I just found out. They were gifted to Steve and I as when we were doing combo as a sleep aid to mix them with a little bit of cannabis and roll them in a joint. And let me tell you, by the time we got to and so it was, like half a gram of one, half a gram of another. And by the time we got to the end of that joint, I was like crawling up the stairs trying to stay awake type thing. And Steve says, but we have another one. And I'm like, huh? For me, they knocked me out completely when I smoked the cured version, and they taste really good actually in that way.
Yeah, I've never tried smoking them, but I've heard that you can do that.
Yeah.
Yes, not to be done with psilocybin mushrooms.
No.
Yeah, gotta make that distinction so that people.
You won't. A lot of people assume that they contain the same chemicals, so that it is fair to bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
are.
I've known a lot of people that have smoked psilocybin, and I just
don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
Oh, hey, we're hitting that time.
Oh my goodness. Like, I got into the podcast. I got into watching it and wasn't paying attention. Normally I'm the one going like this. So Jessika, like, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. We did give you a little bit of a loop. You thought you were coming on for audio, and surprise, here we are with video. And so
for coming on.
Thank you so much. You're just a wealth of information and knowledge.
Thank you for inviting me.
Webpage up again one more time on there, or the Facebook?
Yes, I'm coming. I'm going to put the still one on so y'all can see it, and y'all can take a second. That will take you to her group, which is the Enchanted Mushroom Foraging. Yes.
And then I guess I step into, well, it's that time again. Thank you for joining us here on the Mushie Moment with my co-host Cindy, myself, and our awesome guest Jessika. We're proud to be coming to you live from paceradio.net. We stream on all your favorite platforms. We'll see you next week. Thanks for being here, Jessika. This was incredibly awesome. I look forward to having you on again.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20 is so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420 enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.